So what are you maxing these days? It started with looks, but maxing is everywhere right now. Sleep maxing, fiber maxing, nature maxing. I'm so sorry, it's coming. I'm starting to max out on it all. Well, except maybe for success maxing. Is it a thing? Can we talk about it? Hey, it's Rachel Cooke, your modern mentor. I'm the founder of Lead Above Noise, where we help leaders to work better by design. I'm speaking to a lot of organizations these days about how to move more effectively and productively through seasons of uncertainty, how to stay connected, build the playbooks, and sustain momentum. If your organization could use some clarity on this front, head over to leadabovenoise.com and fill out a contact form. So last summer, we showed up to this barbecue, and there was this guy there with a thing in his mouth. It was vaguely Hannibal Lecter looking, and I tried not to stare, but that typically goes poorly for me. Poor guy, he felt like he owed me an explanation, which he did not. But he said it was some kind of jaw exerciser he was using to, get chiseled. I chuckled at the joke. He didn't. It turns out it was not a joke. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is how I first discovered the Looksmaxing movement. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. In case you're not in the know, Looksmaxing is basically the idea that your face is a project, something you can, and per the internet, should be optimizing, with routines and strategies and some jaw gadgets, all of it promising to make you more attractive, more chiseled, more chosen. And sure, it's easy to chuckle at, like I did, but the more I looked, the more I realized these folks were being weirdly, almost admirably deliberate about getting better at a thing. And then it started escalating. Looksmaxing was my entry point, but now maxing is everywhere. From sleep maxing to fiber maxing, somebody out there is scent maxing, somebody is potassium maxing, which I am pretty sure just means they are eating a banana. Yeah, it can get batty, but also, if we're intentional, maybe a little helpful. If we can max in all these other areas of our lives, why can't we success max? So that's what I want to do today. And not by inventing some shiny new productivity hack, but by stealing the smartest thing that some of these other maxing trends have already figured out and pointing it at your career instead of at your face. Because it turns out the maxers know a few things. 5 of them, actually. So let's take a look. First, we've got fiber maxing. The goal is optimal, not maximal. Speaking, at least for Americans, many of us are fiber deficient. I will leave it to Monica Reinagel, host of the Nutrition Diva podcast, to talk you through what happens in a deficit. Not my expertise. But what I do know is this. Too little fiber is a problem, but so is too much. The goal in fiber maxing is not to eat as much as humanly possible, but rather to understand your optimal amount and make changes to land yourself there. In the realm of professional success, we need more of this mentality. Too many of us are doing too many things to the max, treating too many priorities at once as number one, spending too much time in too many meetings, learning every new tool, polishing drafts to 100%. All of which is great if you've also figured out how to max your days to 47 hours. But if you are a standard issue human working on a 24-hour clock, doing everything to the max is not helping you to success max. At some point, all of these hit a point of diminishing returns. Certain meetings on a key topic are helpful, but at some point they get repetitive. Sufficient data analysis is informative, but at some point it starts to paralyze you from moving. Like with fiber, the answer may not be numeric. Your gut literally will tell you. And in success maxing, you've got to pay attention and make the call for yourself. When meetings get duplicative, when more data starts to confuse rather than clarify, maybe stop there. Next, we've got sleep maxing. Create the conditions for success. Are there any sleep maxers in the house? Granted, they can be a little intense, but if you watch what they actually obsess over, you'll see that they're really deep in optimizing the ideal conditions for sleep. Room temperature, blackout curtains, cooling sheets, white noise. They understand that sleep isn't something you can force. It's something for which you create the conditions and then invite it in. You can't force sleep. You set the conditions and it comes to you. And your best work is the same. You can't white knuckle your way into a great idea, but you can get deliberate about the conditions that tend to produce one. So get as specific about your work conditions as the sleep maxers are about the bedroom. Figure out the 90 minutes your brain is genuinely the sharpest and spend them on your hardest thinking instead of an email. Learn what actually gets your ideas moving. A walk, a whiteboard, 10 messy minutes talking it out with a colleague, and do that on purpose instead of sitting around waiting for inspiration. Notice where you think best, the silent room or the buzzy cafe, and go there. And give the deep stuff a real runway. Batch the shallow work into its own window so it's not interrupting you every 5 minutes. None of that forces the good work. It just clears the way for it. You set the stage, same as the sleep maxers, and you let it come. Next, we've got skin maxing. Change one variable at a time to learn what suits you. Here's what people who actually know skincare will tell you. When your skin is unhappy, don't throw 6 new products at it. New cleanser, new retinol, new serum, new exfoliant. Suddenly your face is furious and you don't know what caused it. The smarter approach is less dramatic. Add one thing, watch what happens, give it time, and then decide whether it stays. And that's a pretty good rule for success maxing too. Because when the work starts feeling stuck, it's tempting to launch a full professional overhaul. Learn AI, start posting on LinkedIn, find a mentor, volunteer for the stretch assignment, ask for more visibility, join the networking group, update the resume. And then 6 months later, you are exhausted and probably still without clarity or a plan. So try one thing instead, but make it a real test. Trying to find more influence? Take on one conversation you'd normally avoid, and then pay attention. Did it change the decision? Did people respond differently? Did you discover more credibility or more context or simply more nerve? Maybe you're wondering if you're ready for a broader scope. So volunteer to lead one piece of work that crosses teams and see if you're having more fun. Notice where you struggled, where others trusted you, and what you would need to build next. Thinking AI could make you better at your job? Pick one recurring task and see what actually changes. Did it save time, improve the output, create more work? Now you know whether to go deeper or move on. Each experiment gives you a signal, and the signal lets you make your next choice based on something more useful than panic, envy, or whatever career advice crossed your feed that morning. Sounds like success maxing to me. Next, we have charisma maxing. Read the room. So much maxing is about you, your face, your sleep, your routines. Charisma maxing, at least in its internet form, is often about trying to become more impressive, better banter, better presence, smoother talk. But the people who actually come across as charismatic are rarely just performing. They are paying attention. They notice when someone is confused instead of nodding along. They can tell when a question is really a concern. They hear the difference between I disagree and I don't feel safe with this yet, and they adjust. And that's a useful lesson for success maxing because work doesn't happen in a vacuum. You can have the smartest recommendation, the cleanest deck, the strongest idea. But if you haven't noticed what the people around you need in order to understand it or trust it or act on it, you may not get very far. Sometimes the next right step is not pushing your point harder. It's slowing down to answer the question no one has asked yet, or bringing someone in earlier, or changing the order of the next conversation, or realizing your boss needs a recommendation while your peer needs more context. And it serves you because people who can read the room make better decisions. They build stronger working relationships and they get more traction for the work they're trying to do. So before your next important conversation, don't just ask yourself what you need to say. Consider the context. What's happening right now and what does somebody else need in this moment? And finally, we've got money maxing. Understand your leverage. The money maxers understand something important. You can work really hard and still hit a ceiling. You can save more, pick up more work, cut back, be disciplined. But eventually there is only so many hours you can sell and only so much you can squeeze out of your own effort. That's why people who think seriously about money talk about leverage, assets that keep working, other people's expertise, systems, investments, ways to create more impact without personally carrying every ounce of it. And that is a useful lesson for success maxing too. A lot of us approach it as though the answer is always more personal effort, more hours, more research, more polishing. But the people who get further often aren't the ones working the hardest. They're the ones who know when not to work alone. They know who's already solved a version of the problem, or when a colleague's expertise can save them 3 days of trial and error. They know when to pull in a partner early, when to ask for an introduction, or use a tool or a template or a process or a team rather than reinventing the wheel. And that is leverage. Doesn't mean using people. It means recognizing that good work is rarely a solo sport. So the next time you're staring down a hard problem, stop asking, how do I get this done? And ask, who has context I don't have? Who's done this before? What already exists that could make this better, faster, or stronger? Because success doesn't always come from doing more yourself. Sometimes it comes from knowing you were never supposed to do it all by yourself in the first place. And the funny part is, you don't need a single gadget to do the same. No ring light, no serum, no banana. You've had everything you need this whole time. You just kept pointing it at your sleep. Maybe this week, point it at your work. I'll be back next week to help you keep building a workplace that works. Until then, visit my website at leadabovenoise.com, where we reimagine how work gets done so that results and well-being rise together. While you're there, don't forget to sign up for my Work Better by Design email series, totally free leadership training for leaders looking for a kickstart. Head over to leadabovenoise.com/email to subscribe. You can follow Modern Mentor on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. You can find me on LinkedIn. Thanks so much for listening and have a successful week. Modern Mentor is a quick and dirty tips podcast. Thanks to the QDT team. Audio engineer Dan Fauerband. Director of podcasts Holly Hutchings. Ad operations specialist Morgan Christensen. Marketing manager Rebecca Sebastian. Marketing contractor Nat Hoops. And podcast associate Maram El Naguib.